Welcome back po on our usual Thursday get-together. Welcome to Lira and Do. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. Thank you very much for joining me. For those of you who regularly join us, welcome back. For our new viewers, welcome. No, thank you very much for keeping me company tonight. No, on this kind of cold. No, mali nga, no. Lumamig na, I should say. Cold autumn. Yeah, I suppose we are now autumn evening, no? On our Thursday get together. We have a fun-filled, packed night tonight. We have so many questions and really varied. It's a whole gambit of issues, no? So some questions are to do with employment, probate, even, no, divorce, no, family law, and and of course our usual immigration. So ang dami po nating question, and we're going to, of course, tackle them as much as we can tonight. As I've said, no, thank you for joining me. Akong host nyo, Lira Simon Kabatbat. Abogado po ako dito. I'm a solicitor, post-qualification experience of 33 years. Yeah. 33 years post-qualification experience. So, hindi pa kasama yung pag-aaral ko and the training. And if you add those all together, then I will be knocking on nearly 40 years in law. Wow, 40 years in law. I saw some clients today who brought their children in, and they are. So if you think about it that way, gosh, I have been qualified like not quite 3 times, but certainly over, actually no, three times. The 16-year-old, twice, not 3 times, double the time she has been alive. Oh, astonishing. Time is going so fast. It's a bit of a worry, but times like this, our Thursday get together, it makes it all worthwhile. Because this is great fun. So ang dami nga natin pag-uusapan. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it, no? So we don't have our usual star question now because all the questions tonight are all star questions, and they're, as I said, it's what I like is they're all very relevant, no? They're all very true to life with you. And kung meron kayong mga questions in the meantime, ping us, email us, no, message us nga. And of course, the usual batian section na mamaya. Don't forget, no, say hello, please. No, you know that's my favorite part of our show. No, so without, I'm not going to go on too much more because we need the time now to deal with all the questions. So we're just going to take a quick break. Tapos balik tayo, and we're going to launch into our numerous questions nga. All right? Sandali lang po. Saglit lang. Welcome back again to Lira in Law, our Thursday get together between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. And today is no different po, no? It's we're of course going to be dealing with lots of legal questions, but I mean, I would just say, of course, because of the time limit, amongst other things, if you have legal issues, now always best to seek independent legal advice. But I'll try my best to at least hopefully point you in the right direction. Okay. So without further ado, let's launch into our many questions. So I think our first question is to do with employment. Okay. So sabi nito, I was dismissed on the 2nd of September. So actually, no, not too long ago, no, for breach of confidentiality after 14 years as an NHS healthcare assistant. I'd accessed my manager's details a few times without bad intentions. She knew about this in 2022, but only raised formal complaints in 2023 after our working relationship worsened. I'm waiting for my dismissal letter so I can appeal. Is there any chance my sanction could be reduced or that I might be reinstated? You can challenge dismissal. So that was it. So ito. Yeah, so let's just break it down. Nagtatrabaho siya dati, o nagtatrabaho siya as an NHS healthcare assistant. She accessed her colleagues, no, manager nga niya, data, and she has been, it seems, dismissed, probably summarily, no, so without any notice nga because of this, when formal complaints nga were made. And as is usually the case, she was provided an internal appeal, no? And so she's exercised that internal appeal. And so question nga niya, is there any chance that her sanction, which was dismissal, could be reduced, no, could be changed, not so much, or that she might be reinstated nga. Now, it is of course an employment issue. Now, you can challenge a dismissal where these are the circumstances. Now, it's likely to be, the challenge will likely be what's called unfair dismissal. Basically, sabi mo, I was dismissed and that the dismissal was unfair because of the process perhaps was not followed, or substantively was not the right decision. It was too harsh for the circumstances. So you can potentially challenge by way of what's called unfair dismissal, but you normally you would issue that after your internal appeal has been dealt with. It's also important that you exercise and you have your internal appeal, because then you will see, okay, what evidence actually, what was the basis for the review, for the dismissal. And in this case, it was a summary dismissal, I'm guessing. So no notice. So they probably just took you into the office and they said, no notice, you need to go now. No? Now, the problem you're going to have is this, and this one case especially, you should seek independent legal advice. No? There's quite a useful website called ACAS. They deal with employment law. But in this case, I think it's probably not enough to just go to their website. I think you should seek independent legal advice, so someone now who specializes in employment law. But for what it's worth, these are the issues I see. Now, una nga, as I say, you can potentially make a claim, pursue a claim for unfair dismissal. There are time limits to do that, so be careful that don't leave it too late nga. Different though is whether or not you would succeed. Ang problema una, accessing your manager's NHS data, no? Especially, even though you may not have had bad intentions, is a serious breach. They will likely say, a court will likely say that's a serious breach of your terms of employment. So it would be conduct that they would probably say is serious enough that could lead to summary dismissal. So no notice. Now, I can't, when you say bad, no, without bad intentions, just that's probably difficult also to substantiate, no? Because the fact that you access someone else's data, even if it's not for usage as regards, you were not looking to sell it or anything like that. Just the fact that you access someone else's private data, you will find it will be very difficult to justify it, and it will be hard to say, well, you didn't do it with bad intentions, because the mere accessing of the data was bad intention. So but saying that, look, it depends also. You've obviously been there a long time. You've been there 14 years. no? I don't know what led you to do this nga. She knew about it, sabi mo, in 2022, but only raised complaints in 2023. It's arguable, I suppose. It's arguable that you had done it, but it's actually not something that maybe she minded too much, or for want of a better phrase, really. So it's important you go to your internal appeal and see what the case is against you. If they maintain their decision and actually dismiss you summarily, then, as I say, you can then pursue potentially an unfair dismissal claim. But the complaint, if this is the complaint that you access your manager's details, and sabi mo dito a few times, I mean, to access it once is bad enough. To have accessed it a few times makes the case much worse. So put it this way, I would be very concerned about your case. I suspect yung employer mo nga, the NHS will have issues with your reinstatement, because they would say that the breach is fundamental, because it's a trust issue to your employment. And because of that, they will probably say they can't reinstate you. I suppose it depends also on what your manager says. But if your manager says, I can't work with her, this is what she has done, again, that may be not an issue. It's a great shame, because, of course, 14 years as an NHS healthcare assistant, 14 years, it's a long time, and all that experience, and also, of course, your livelihood, all that to go, is a great shame. But it is, I would be very concerned. So it's I as I said in the beginning, sometimes it's or not sometimes, oftentimes, legal issues are quite complex, even if on the face of it may not be. So it's good to seek independent legal advice. But ito, for sure, you should seek independent legal advice. If you go on the website of ACAS, as I say, they may even, I think there's, I'm not sure whether their website actually has a list of solicitors that specialize in employment law. If they don't, then certainly you can have a look at, if you Google the SRA, just put SRA, Solicitors Regulatory Authority, and there you can filter, the list of practicing solicitors. So, for example, I would be on there. And you can even filter according to expertise. So if you put in employment, and you can then also have a look at which firms, which offices may be nearer you. And sometimes people also provide advice on what's called a fixed fee interview, or indeed legal aid, that kind of assistance. Not many people provide now legal aid assistance, but you can have a look. But at the very least, if I were you, I would invest in, say, an hour's time of a solicitor to just go through it. I would just say on a practical basis, because a lot of time is spent. So when I'm taking instructions from client, a lot of time is spent on taking down the details. Ano bang background? Starting really with, when did you start your employment? What's your date of birth? Therefore, how old you are? What had happened? So what documents have been provided to you? All of that. Isulat mo, and you may find that it helps the solicitor get through, the details a bit faster, and also more to have also more specific information, which will help in the advice they're giving. So ilagay mo, basically provide them with a note. If you can email it to them or post it to them in advance of the meeting, then even better. So then you have a document that you're going through together, so you're both on the same page. That's my practical tip to you. Good luck. I'm sorry that this has happened, but good luck. I hope that it goes well for you. Now, I'm sure, ma'am, but we have lots of questions, so let's just have a look. Okay. So this one is immigration. So ask lang po, sabi niya, no? If may ILR stands for indefinite leave to remain. So settlement nga si Ma, no, nanay niya in 2027. So in a couple of years time. Tapos yung anak po ay nasa Pinas, no? And then they're planning, nanay's planning, Ma's planning to get her as a dependent visa also in 2027. How long would they need to wait before the dependent daughter can get indefinite leave to remain if the mother, also has indefinite leave to remain? Great question, because it's actually one that can be confusing for a lot of people. So let's unpack it a little bit. So unang-una nga, hindi pa indefinite ang nanay, no? Nandito siya sa UK. Yung anak nasa Pilipinas nga, sabi nga niya dito, nasa Pilipinas. Hindi pa niya kukunin yung bata, and I'm assuming bata, no? Until 2027, pagka indefinite na siya. Now, how long would the child need to wait bago maging indefinite nga pagka nandito na? Yun ang tanong, no? Now, unang-una, I am assuming na yung bata is under 18 and will be under 18 in 2027. I say that because when you can apply for dependents nga in 2027, dependents ibig nilang sabihin asawa o kaya anak under the age of 18. Okay? Kung 18 na yung bata o mas matanda pa na, kahit anak mo nga sila, and of course you can prove na anak mo nga siya, they're no longer, even though realistically they're your dependent, as in ikaw nagbabayad ng lahat para sa kanila, it does not mean that they're dependent anymore as far as immigration law is concerned. Yung spouse, kung yung asawa mo, partner mo, potentially nga, they can come in as your dependent. At saka anak, kung meron kayong mga anak under the age of 18. Beyond that, hindi na nga sila dependent. So let me assume that in 2077, yung bata nga is still under the age of 18. Now, the indefinite leave to remain, question mo, depends. The answer depends very much on whether she's coming in with your partner o yung asawa mo, yung tatay niya, o hindi. Now, kung kasama ang tatay, so underage yung bata, kasama ang tatay, ang bisang bibigay sa bata, same tallies, no, with the father or the husband's visa. So bibigyan nga doon sa asawa is 33 months, no? Unang-una. So the child will also get exactly the same length of visa. So pagka matatapos na yung visang tatay, same goes sa anak. Pagka mag-i-extend nga yung bata, kasama din yung ama nga. Kahit maging over 18 na yung bata, as long as they get their visa before the age of 18, kung nandito na yung bata, their visa can still be extended. If the child by then, sabihin natin later on, becomes over the age of 18, like the father, they would normally apply, they would then be able to apply for the indefinite leave to remain. Okay? Now, kung hindi kasama yung tatay, and I have a lot of clients where this is the case, so yung bata nga lang dadalhin, wala na yung ama, hindi interesado, or it's not been involved, o kaya namatay na nga, no? So yung bata nga lang ang pupunta dito. Pagka indefinite na yung nanay, so in 2027, indefinite na yung nanay, gusto niya kunin yung anak niya under the age of 18, in 2027, papunta sa UK, pero indefinite na siya. Ang visang bibigay sa bata, the application for the child is actually already indefinite leave to remain. Settlement na. So there's no waiting as such. No? So kung indefinite nanay, indefinite na din ang application. So it will be the settlement application kailangan nilang ipasok in 2027. Okay? So it's that's quite important. But different, as I say, kung yung kasama nga yung ama, because then the child follows the visa of the father, or the spouse, the partner nga, coming into the United Kingdom. And so pagka-indefinite, mag-indefinite na yung ama, then kasama nga yung bata. So hopefully that's of help to you. So that's kind of good news, no? Diba? If as long as the child is still under the age of 18 by by year 2027, no? Kung magiging 18 na siya o lalagpas na by 2027 pero hindi pa lagpas nga ngayon, then I would say to you, you should apply. The mother should apply now. Okay. I hope that they can, as you know, no, there've been a number of changes, especially in the skilled worker route, to do with carers. So hopefully, if the child's going to be 18 now, it will be 18 by 2027. Ang payo ko, apply now. Anyway, good luck. I hope that's helpful to you. Now, I'm sure we have lots more questions. So sandali nga lang, tingnan ko. Let me have a look. Okay. This one is to do with family, divorce. So talaga, the variation of our topics today is astonishing. Normally, mainly immigration mga viewers natin, mga questions nga, but today, as I say, we have employment, we have probate, divorce, and immigration. Anyway, I digress. Let me have a look at the next question. So sabi po niya ito, good day, sabi niya, no? Good day to you. I'm a mother of 2 daughters, and after 12 years of marriage, my husband, also Filipino, and I have mutually agreed to separate. Okay? We're both British citizens now and own properties both in the UK and in the Philippines. I would like to seek advice on how to formally begin the divorce process here in the UK. Our main concern is to ensure the separation is handled peacefully and that arrangements for co-parenting and finances are properly organized. May I also ask if there are options for free legal advice or assistance that I can access? Sabi niya, no? Look, let me start by saying I commend you for wanting an amicable process. Far too many fathers, husband, wives, mothers, end their relationship, and it becomes quite a stressful, distressing, process. The kind of warring parties, and that is a shame for everyone. So the fact that you're saying, you want to have, sabi mo nga dito, a peaceful, to deal with it peacefully, as you say, good for you, kudos to you. Well done for doing that. That's a great starting point. Now, the process for divorce in the UK is also designed, especially since a change in April 2022, has also been designed to make it less confrontational. So dati, pre-April 2022, you needed to be able to show one of 5 possible facts to prove irretrievable breakdown of marriage, and they would be, for example, back in before April 2022, things like unreasonable behavior, adultery, desertion. So they're blame grounds. There were 2 non-blame grounds, which is 2 years separation if it's by consent for both, or 5 years separation if it's only one party. So you had to almost blame the other side. But for most people, it's not a question of, sometimes people just kind of drift apart. So it's good. I think the government, the law reflected the change also. And probably it was high time the change was made. So after April 2022, changes to divorce law came into effect. Ngayon, you do not need to blame the other side. It's enough that you say the relationship has ended, and you don't even have to be you don't even have to have one person start divorce proceedings. It can actually be a joint application, you know? Which I would also recommend, because in that way, you're not blaming the other person, or they're not starting the process. You're actually starting it jointly, which may make it also a bit better, you know, going forward in the future. You know? So especially as you have children, if they say, well, if they say what had happened, you can quite properly say you both decided you were going to live apart, and you wanted to dissolve your marriage, and because of that, you both also decided that you're going to petition for a divorce, and that would be true because it's a joint application. Okay? So that's one thing you can do. They can do it jointly. As regards the process, um, uh, what it's an online application. You know? If you simply, frankly, Google, you know, divorce UK, you will be directed to the government website, and it takes you through the steps. It's perhaps not as simple as it can be, but have a go. No, it's you can do it online. Make sure that you have ready your email address, also your email address. Yeah, make sure that you have your marriage certificate. In this case, you were married. I think you may have been married now in the Philippines. I think you said here. So if you were married in the Philippines, make sure now that you have your marriage contract, you know, the one from PSA, because you'll need to input now the data amongst other things. So you can do it, you know, together. It doesn't have to be that you're sitting side by side. You can simply say this is a joint application now, you know? And then that way you can also conduct the process together. So you can apply for the conditional order, which is the first stage, the stage before the end, and then you can apply, of course, for the final order. Both of you can do that. Okay, and as I say, importante nga, if you're looking to ensure going forward that you can say to the children, yeah, no, it was a um, mutual decision nga, so that you're not looking to blame him. He's not looking to blame you, and that would, I think, be uh, the children, I think, will probably be, uh, uh, for want of a better word, you know, be not like that, but certainly they would probably prefer that than one parent, say, divorcing the other. So see if you can do it jointly. Now, as far as free legal advice, solicitors don't generally provide. We don't generally provide free legal advice. I think you can, in some cases, I'm not sure whether you can even get a form of legal aid. You will find that that's quite limited. And I think in matrimonial case, you need to be able to show they require some kind of domestic violence involved, which that's, hopefully it's not the case here. So you'll probably find it difficult, to get free legal advice in relation to divorce or assistance. What you could also do, though, if you're looking to limit costs, is you can see about solicitors who can work on what's called unbundled work, yung tawag, unbundled work. That just means really you kind of dip in and out. So they're not acting for you. They're not on the record with the court, but every time they're aware of the background, and every time you need help, say, with preparing documents, or you have questions as regards, say, finances, or indeed the children, that they can advise you. So you kind of dip in and out, if you like. They're not on the record, but they advise you as and when you require them. Not many firms do that. I certainly, my firms shy away from that, simply because I prefer dealing with, if I'm dealing with it, I'm actually dealing with the whole thing rather than kind of dipping in and out, which can be a bit confusing. And sometimes it's also not necessarily a good thing for clients. But if you're it's a question of cost, better have some advice than no advice at all. No, just on that. Okay. Um, you said here, co-parenting. The court will not make an order as regards to children unless it's necessary to do so. So, if you've agreed, that maybe the children will live with you, or half and half, or with him, and then partly you, the court, you don't need an order for that. And the court will say, well, if you agree, why would we make an order? That's the starting point. Well, the starting point really is they will deal with any application and will make an order according to the best interest of the child. But you will find they will not make an order if you and he agree, what's happening with the children. And you don't need it also, because you have both what's called parental responsibilities. So kung mangyari nga sa mga bata, you both can make decisions in relation to, say, their health, or indeed nga education. And if there is a dispute, then you can invite the court's jurisdiction, but hopefully not. As regards money, importante nga din to, no? So the divorce, you can do that, and I would suggest have a go. It's government website nga. Main thing you should have is your marriage certificate or your marriage contract if it's in if you're married in the Philippines, and make sure that you have your email address and your husband's email address ready. And you can, as I say, do it jointly. You can make a joint application for divorce. So the divorce itself, have a go at the process. The children, as I say, if you're in agreement, court will not make an order. You don't need it also. Now, money is something else, though. Now, when you're petitioning for, when you're applying for a divorce, amongst other things, the court later on can look at money. Just because people are divorcing does not mean that they invite the court's jurisdiction as regards money. But we just need to be careful with that now. So when you prepare your application for divorce, I think it's the last page, asks, do you intend to make a financial claim? Most people, if they're not looking to make a claim against the other, they say no. That's actually not my advice to my clients. You should tick yes, not because you want money off your spouse necessarily, but it invites the court's jurisdiction to deal with what's called to deal with finances later on. If you don't take yes, you can still invite the court's jurisdiction, but you need to submit a new an application especially for that. But if you just tick yes, then you're saying to the court, yes, I'm inviting you to make an order in relation to finance. Now, ito. You can you can apply to the court for under what's called a consent order. So ibig sabihin, you and your hubby agree. So if your agreement is that his money is his money, your money is your money. If you have a house together, that property be sold, or indeed that maybe not yet sold, but that you and the children live there, or he and the children live there, and then later on sold. So if you have agreed finances, then you can put all of that in what's called a consent order. So you say to the court, okay, this is what we agreed. The court will want to know background also. So you will need to submit information about your finances. Anong sweldo mo, anong sweldo niya, and anything else really that any assets, for example, they own, including assets nga in the Philippines. Okay, don't forget, because assets in the Philippines also will be considered matrimonial assets, so they can form part of a consent order here. So all of that, all those two main documents go to the court. Also pension. You have a pension, he has a pension. It may be that you simply say, pension ko, you say, sayo. So that can be all contained in consent order. Importantly, and this you should note, you should also consider if you want what's called a clean break. So ibig pong sabihin, you're saying to the court, I don't want any money from him going forward in the future, and he doesn't want any money from me or against the other's estate. By that I mean, if you die, before him, then he's not making a claim against you, and the other way around. So that's called a clean break, and it is what it says on the tin. It's a clean break. So a clean break can be contained also nga in the consent order. And so you're saying to the court, this is what we want to happen in relation to joint accounts, in relation to the property, and at the end of it, we want also a clean break, okay, as between us. You cannot have a clean break as regards the children, okay, and children are not generally mentioned in the consent order because the consent order regulates you and you and your husband's finances. And as I say, you can't have a clean break as regards the children. So yung mga bata, they can always ask for money. And I mean, they're only, I assume that they're also both relatively young, unless they were born before your marriage. So it's not, it would not normally include much in relation to the children. Okay, so it's the thing to bear in mind, as I say, is have a look. There's a home office, a government website to do with divorce. You can do it jointly. You should make sure you have ready your marriage contract mo. The last page that asks, are you looking to make a financial claim? You should tick yes if you're looking to pursue maybe a consent order with clean break nga, no? But for the finances, I think it's a good idea to seek there. If you're looking to limit costs, I would say the divorce, have a go yourselves. But for the finances, I think it's important that you seek independent legal advice, because that can be a bit trickier. Also, the preparation of the consent order and the documents to go with the consent order, they need to follow a certain structure so that the court can make sense of it and hopefully will simply grant it. So there you should really seek independent legal advice. And look, if you're in agreement also, no, lihati kayo. No? So you can you'll find that the solicitor, so for example, I sometimes have people, they're in agreement and they want to see me, together. I always say to them, I can see one of you, but not both, because otherwise it's a conflict. But if you're in agreement anyway, then you say to the solicitor, okay, we've agreed this. The solicitor will likely advise you on the terms. Maybe even if you instruct them so to prepare the consent order, that goes to hubby and he looks at it. Maybe he sees his own solicitor briefly just to check that that's all okay. And then and then once you're both satisfied, then it goes off to the court. So it's I would do that. So if you have some funds but you need to allocate it carefully, then I would say allocate it towards the finances, because the divorce may not be as complex as the finances and the children you've agreed anyway. So well done you, truly well done for in dealing with it amicably, peacefully, as you put it. That definitely is the way to go. Absolutely the way to go. And well done you for having that kind of attitude. Good luck. Keep me informed. All right. Now, I'm sure we'll have mga questions. So sandali. Let me have a look. Okay. So sabi niya dito, I'm on my second FLRM. FLRM is the application for spouse visa. I'll come back to that a little bit more. So this year I went home to the Philippines for 40 days due to my auntie's passing. I now have a newborn. Oh, congrats. And I'm planning to spend my maternity leave in the Philippines. As per the rules, I know, sabi niya, absences should not exceed 180 days in the 12-month period. My question is, if I go over 180 days, will I lose my chance to apply for ILR? So far, I've used 40 days, but what if next year I also need to be away again? Okay, so let's unpack that. It's a great question now. So una nga, I'm on my second FLRM. So ibig sabihin, ang background ito, dumating siya dito as a spouse or under the partner route. So binigyan siya visa for 33 months usually. Now, she then made an application before that visa expired, I'm assuming, for an extension of leave to remain. So the form that she used is this FLRM. So binigyan siyang visa. She's on her second probationary period, if you like. And the form they used was the FLR, which is the correct form. No? And so she's now on her second, if you like, probation period. So she's here over the 2.5 years already. So her visa has now been extended. Now, she then went back to the Philippines, stayed there for 40 days because of her mother's passing. And she has a newborn baby, so she wants to spend a bit more time in the Philippines. And she's worried that if she spends more than 180 days, in the Philippines, that may compromise. Does that mean she will lose? As she puts it, will she then lose her chance of getting indefinite leave to remain? Okay. Now, this is a common, sabi nga niya, sabi niya dito, I know absences should not exceed 180 days in a 12-month period. That's actually not correct in relation to this visa. For most visas, absolutely, 180 days is the magic number for a lot of visas nga. But in this case, actually, with spouse applicants, there's actually nothing in the rules that say you can't be away for longer than 180 days. You'll find, it's the law is contained in Appendix FM. Appendix FM. Appendix FM. There's nothing there that says a spouse, you should not be absent for more than 180 days in any given 12-month period. So you can actually exceed 180 days. But you have to be careful, and it doesn't. It can be under 180 days. So it can go both ways. What you do need to show under the spouse visa, both the first and the second part, is that you and your partner intend to live permanently in the United Kingdom. That's actually what the rules provide. Now, if you have been away from the UK more than you have been here, then you will find, but you may find that the Home Office may think, well, hang on, could it be that their relationship is no longer ongoing because she's not been in the country, or if your partner is also with you, they may say that they don't think that you intend to live permanently in the United Kingdom. And they can say that before 180 days. It's very unlikely because it's not long, and also, well, in this case, of course, you have your maternity, and I can understand that you probably want to be, with perhaps wider, more family members, and you're not having to work. So, it's an understandable wish, to spend it maybe in the Philippines. So, as I say, the 180 days as regards spouses does not apply now. So, but be careful, as I say, it could be that you find that there's then an issue as to whether you intend to live permanently in the UK. Again, if when you make an application for indefinite leave to remain, you need to also declare no absences from the UK. Ang payo ko, you should include in the representations. You should say that the absences that the absence was due to was during the time when you had maternity leave, and that was spent in the Philippines. And then you came back as soon as your maternity was finished. So you should explain it, is what I'm getting at. Ideally, really, where not just on the form, but maybe with as a cover letter, with the representations to say that this should not, of course, be you were absent for this time. This was because of maternity, your maternity leave. As soon as it was done, you then arrived, returned to the United Kingdom. You, of course, continue to pursue your relationship nga with your husband, and you are in contact on a daily basis. So explain it, no? So that if they have concerns, they can see, oh, okay, itong dahilan. Okay? So yeah, so I hope that's helpful. But have a look if you want to check out nga the absences issue. If you look at starting point would be Appendix FM. Google it. Okay. Now, I'm sure we have other questions. So sabi nga niya dito. Oh, this one, this is short and sweet, the question na ito. But it's actually, it's a great one because it's actually a question I get asked a lot. No? So sabi niya dito, hello, what are the requirements for renewal for visa dependent? Sabi niya, no? It depends really kung anong status ng sponsor mo, no? They could be skilled worker, they could maybe indefinite leave to remain, or British nga dito. So, but let's look at it generally, no? So, kung dependent nga of someone who is who's here with British citizen nga or indefinite leave to remain, spouse visa basically. Kailangan pakita that if spouse visa relationship is ongoing, and of course genuine, you need financial documents also. So minimum income requirement has gone up from 18,600 to 29,000 pounds. With the financial requirement also is the accommodation, no? So and in some cases, and also English language, it could be A1 or indeed A2, no? Or if it's for indefinite leave to remain ang application nyo, it could be also that you need the B1 in level, o kaya, and also the life in the UK, right? So you may need both for indefinite. So it depends very much, as I say, on what basis are you coming in. You can have a look again on the Home Office website, because that you may need to just look a little bit in a bit harder nga, because they're in hindi nga lang yung batas, but also there's some eligibility, requirements nga, and that you or evidence also is in relation to income. If you put in if you follow through the list, then the links, then you may find it. But if you want me to send you the link, I just need to know dependent on what basis, no? If you message me later on, and I'll see about sending you the link, because otherwise it's just so many different scenarios. So, but it is a question I get asked a lot, as I say. Now, I'm sure meron pa tayong mga questions, so sandali nga lang. This one is probate, no? I don't get many probate questions, no, during our show. So I'm keen that to deal with this. This has also a twist, no, because it's also to do with Philippines nga. So sabi niya ito, I hope you can assist me with my case. I'm a Filipina currently residing in Manila and was married to a UK national. I hope you're watching, no? Unfortunately, my husband passed away without leaving a will. So here, that would be called intestate, no? He left behind an inheritance from his mother, a property, which has since been converted into cash. So it's been sold, no? I'm now contesting my rights to this inheritance and currently dealing with solicitors in London. I'm asserting that UK intestacy law should apply in accordance with Philippine law. However, my late husband's eldest daughter and solicitors are claiming that Philippine intestacy law should govern the matter. I've consulted several lawyers here in Manila, and all of them are in agreement that UK intestacy law applies in this situation. I've been actively searching for a Filipino solicitor based in London who may be able to assist or guide me, and I came across your name through Google. I would be grateful for any help or advice you could provide regarding my case. Now, itong una, of course, Pinoy ako, no? But my qualification is actually here. So I'm not qualified to advise on Philippine law. And this, strictly speaking, would be Philippine law. So ang payo kong unang-una, you should you already have sought advice from Philippine lawyers nga in lawyers in the Philippines qualified to advise on Philippine law. But I just find it a bit of a concern. So let me have a look at. Let's discuss nga what may be the case. As I say, this is not my jurisdiction. So what I'm saying out to you is just general information. You should seek proper advice. But but as I understand it, and really, this my caveat is this is just not my jurisdiction, so don't rely on this. But as I understand it, no, Philippine courts or Philippine law would usually have exclusive jurisdiction over properties in the Philippines. Okay. Now, that would still apply even if your husband lived abroad. So what would normally then happen, and this also actually applies in relation to other countries, is say, kung namatay nga siya dito, probate is applied for and potentially granted in the UK, no, under English law. But then that would be the primary probate. But then a secondary probate application will need to be made now in the Philippines to deal specifically with properties there. They distinguish between movable and immovable properties, so real estate. So properties usually would be under the exclusive jurisdiction, as I understand it, of the Philippine courts. So I would tend to agree with advice that was provided here, that is actually Philippine intestacy, that rather the properties, the property would be dealt with by would be under the jurisdiction of Philippine law. I can see yung mga nanonood nga, they're probably saying, well, why would you want UK English law to apply rather than Philippine law? And the reason I'm guessing, no? If the jurisdiction is UK, so under English law, someone who dies intestate, their married partner, right, would normally get all assets up to £322,000. Anything over that would then need to be shared with the children. So itong loop, yung bahay nga, if UK, if English law applied, then more, if it's under 322,000, then you get it. She gets it all. You get it all. No, no share with the children. That is if it's in the UK. And then if it's over 322,000, it's just simply shared with the children. You still get half. No? So the children get a relatively lower proportion of the assets nga under intestacy law in here. Okay. In the Philippines, and I must admit, I did look this up, no, because as I say, it's not my jurisdiction. The order of intestate beneficiaries, heirs, are unang-una nga, it seems, legitimate children and descendants. So if the children died and they have children nga, share equally, you know. So with surviving spouse, and then legitimate parents, and ascendants if no children nga. So in your case, suppose the legitimate children and descendants share equally with, I'm assuming here, spouse. So you would get obviously less because you're sharing it. Whereas the other way, you would get potentially the whole lot. So I can see why it's important also financially to establish this. But I would tend to agree that because it's real estate, It's not potentially applicable to other assets nga, but because it's property, even though it's been converted now into money because it's been sold, it's probably more the case that it is actually Philippine law that will apply. But I say again, you should take advice on this one. You can, of course, get written advice, to try and get a definitive answer. And I think it's worthwhile doing so. Good luck. Let me know what happens. Now, I ko meron. Oh gosh, the time has flown by. Hindi pa tayo nagbabatian. Let's quickly, batian tayo, no? Speaking of Philippines, David Calixto II. Good evening. Good evening po. How are you, sir? How are you? Are you well? Hopefully hindi umuulan sa atin, ano? O bumabagyo. Nice of you to say hello. Oh, Miss Paner. Marian Galicia Paner. Hello po, Tony, sabi niya. At sa lahat, happy Thursday po. Very, very interesting topic na naman, mga kabayan, yeah, with Attorney Lira. Salamat po, madam. Salamat. Are you okay? I hope you're inside. Ay, kanina umuwi ako, umuulan. Guy, the great guy from London. Not so cold Thursday to Attorney Lira, sabi niya, and to the viewers. I work from Canary Wharf today, and I'm taking care of Justin now. Such a committed dad. Still good news, sabi niya, no? Still good news, Attorney Lira. I'm still tap send ambassador. Some money remittance to Philippines, no? Bonus of £15 for first-time users. Looking forward to lots of learning again. And to Attorney Lira's lovely voice, Guy, the great guy. Hi, Guy. Hello, kamusta? Yeah. Miss Jones, the lovely, lovely Miss Jones. Good evening, Attorney Lira, sabi. And all viewers, nice to be back after a short holiday to Zurich. Whoa, Switzerland. So clean and green. Tama ka. I mean, it's been a while since I was in Switzerland, actually. But one thing I do remember, it was so clean. No? I've not been to Singapore. I'm told Singapore is very much like that. No, it's very, very clean. Miss De Guzman, Natalia De Guzman. Hello, madam. Good evening, Attorney, sabi niya. You're absent last week. Oh, you missed me. Hope you're well. Oh, you are lovely, Mr. Guzman. Yeah, I wasn't very well actually last week. Meron akong konting lagnat. I think I kind of got wet. I was anyway. I didn't have an umbrella. I was stupidly, so I continued walking anyway. Actually, my dog, yung aso ko, I was walking the dog a couple of days before nga, last Thursday. And then, meron akong lagnat. And I was messy po na akong konti. But it was actually mainly, I had a bit of a temperature. But it was my own fault. Because really, I should have taken an umbrella. You know what? Ma'am Cora! Oh, we love Ma'am Cora. Hello, Attorney, at everyone. I'm now in Pinas. Oh, wonderful! I hope the weather's good, huh? I arrived here yesterday. Now for good. Oh, I know. Now for good? Ano ibig sabihin now for good? Sorry, hindi na tayo tayo nagpapa-date dyan, but hoping and praying na magkita tayo dito. Pag nag-holiday kayo, 16 years din ako dyan sa London, at surely mamimiss ko. It's for good, as in for good. Hope one day magbakasyon, sorry, I don't have my glasses, magbakasyon din dyan. Take care of you all, mahal ko sa London. Oh my gosh, Ma'am Cora, you didn't tell me you were going back. Wow, we miss you already. But okay, this is a good way of keeping in touch, Ma'am Cora. So I expect that you are with us every Thursday, no? So, oh no, that's terrible. Well, it's good, but it's terrible. I mean, Philippines is a beautiful country, and I'm sure you will. It's a different life and different lifestyle, but I'm sure you will love it. I mean, look, you deserve a break. You deserve retirement. So, si Miss Paner, sabi niya, Attorney, Tanong, sorry. My eyesight's getting worse. Napatanong lang po. One of my friends, uuwi daw siya next month. Hindi po daw kaya siya magkakaproblema pabalik dito sa UK in November. So, Kasi yung BRP niya, hindi pa nag-e-visa kasi wala pang amo niya, nasa holiday pa daw. Madam, so wala siyang yung BRP niya, hindi pa e-visa. Ang kailangan niya, ang payo ko, get an e-visa. Hindi naman ganong matagal mag-intay ng e-visa. Ang kailangan niya amo niya. So dahil yung BRP, alam niyo naman, paso na, it was extended, the deadline for using VRP twice, no? So it was extended beyond the 31st of December to March, and then it was extended again to June. It's not extended anymore. So magiging problema niya, palabas hindi problema, madam. Pabalik dito magkakaproblema. So uuwi po siya sa Pinas next month. Yeah, next month. So ang payo ko, she should apply now, no? For the e-visa. Now, it's only, pero kung indefinite siya, that may be, meron naman siya card eh. So may card siya. So the card is actually, so kung meron siya card, it shouldn't be hard to get an e-visa. Ewan ko bakit kailangan niya hintayin yung amo niya. I suppose, kung kailangan niya tulong sa computer. But don't go without an e-visa, no? Because you need the share code, no? Makakaproblema siya pabalik dito. So don't go. Sabihin mo sa kanya, get an e-visa. Hindi magkano mahirap eh. It's a bit more, you need to know at least a little bit of, technology, because you have to upload your photo, ganon. But anyways, so don't go without an e-visa. Yun ang payo ko. Miss Vargas, May Tigbao Vargas. Good evening po, Attorney Lira, and everyone watching. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, madam. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And it's nice that you missed, that you noticed I wasn't here last week. Miss Giling, the lovely Miss Giling. Hello po, good evening, ma'am. Happy Thursday po. And to all, to you too, madam. How are you? Miss Giling is, I always say this, no? She's really one of the nicest people you can meet. And yung buo niyang pamilya, she's lovely. She really is. Miss Paner, opo, I'm okay po, salamat. I hope you're okay too. Yeah, no, I'm okay po, madam. No, I tell you, Miss Paner and I have been together for more than 5 years. Oh, sabi niya, wow po, Tita Cora. Enjoy po. Stay safe always and take care po always. Yun na nga, tama ka. I echo that, Miss Paner. I'm so surprised, no, Ma'am Cora, na umuwi ka for good na, no? Dahil talaga for good, hindi ka na babalik dito. Come on, no? You know, it's so sabi po niya, ako po, salamat sa sagot. No, my pleasure, madam. Yeah, pero Ma'am Cora, no, it's always keep in touch though, ha? Keep in touch. No, we can get together at least every Thursday, yeah. Yeah. And keep us informed, no? How you getting on? Do you like it there? How's the weather? No? Meron ko client kanina, sabi niya, napakainit daw sa atin ngayon. Well, lagi naman mainit sa atin, but lumala daw. I don't know whether that's true. Look, I've gone overtime because I wanted to, of course, no, yung the Batian section is dear to my heart. As you know, I get quite excited people saying hello. So always try and say hello. And I appreciate it nga. Just leaves me to say, at salamat po ulit sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much for joining me. And look, Ma'am Cora, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Madaling araw nga sa atin. Our long-time viewers and friends, new viewers, kamusta po? No? Salamat din po sa Facebook groups for allowing us to post our contents on their pages. It's always a pleasure. No? And of course, I will have hopefully the pleasure of your company again next week for our next Lira in Law on Thursday. Between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. So until then, salamat po for joining me. I hope that you join me again. See you sometime soon.